It's the Korean War, and artillery is king. US artillery was one of the decisive advantages that the United Nations forces possessed. Although tanks and aircraft received much of the attention, artillery often inflicted most enemy casualties and played a critical role in stopping offensives, supporting infantry, and conducting counter-battery warfare. The ability to strike back when the enemy artillery opened up was crucial. However, the mountainous terrain of Korea made this very difficult. The North Koreans and Chinese used observers that watched for muzzle flashes, microphone arrays that measured the arrival time of gun reports to estimate battery positions, observers hidden on hills overlooking UN lines. And if an American battery repeatedly fired from one position, Chinese intelligence would map it for later retaliation. In the beginning, the US forces also used similar techniques, although more refined, with aerial observation and centralized fire direction. So, most welcome to Historiespanarna History Reconnaissance and Fire Once Be Found. Join us and see the magic wand that gave the US artillery the upper hand in these deadly duels in the valleys and mountains of Korea. The Korean War demonstrated that artillery remained one of the most influential weapons on the battlefield, despite advances in aviation. Lessons learned in Korea, particularly in counter-battery radar, centralized fire direction, and rapid support, shaped US artillery doctrine throughout the Cold War and into the Vietnam War. By the Korean War, jet aircraft were beginning to make World War II era systems less ideal. But the SCR-784, Mobile Lightweight Fire Control, developed as a compact, transportable version of the famous SCR-584 radar, remained useful because it was already proven technology. Crews were trained on it. It provided reliable tracking, and it could be deployed quickly. It was a transitional system, too advanced to be obsolete, but part of the last generation of vacuum tube radar equipment before newer transistorized and digital systems appeared. In short, the SCR-784 gave Korean War US forces a mobile electronic eye that let anti-aircraft units find and track aircraft and helped artillery units locate enemy guns. The procedure: Chinese or North Korean artillery fired. The radar saw the shell moving through the air. The operator tracked the projectile. The plotting equipment calculated the trajectory backward. The fire direction center received the enemy gun location. And US artillery fired a counter-battery mission. The Army specifications for SCR-784 were impressive. About 28,000 yards counter-battery range, automatic projectile tracking, able to locate enemy guns or adjust friendly artillery. But Korea created a problem. Mountains block radar just as they block eyesight. The 1st Field Artillery Observation Battalion, codenamed Nathan Hale, was the only regular Army unit of its kind during the Korean War. Arriving from Fort Sill, Oklahoma in August 1950, the battalion specialized in target acquisition through sound flash and radar to direct United Nations artillery strikes. A report states that the 1st Observation Battalion had experienced continual poor results with SCR-784, that the effort required to move, install, and operate equipment in Korea had not produced satisfactory results. Imagine a winter night in 1951-52. A Chinese battery opens from a valley north of the line. American infantry hear incoming rounds but cannot see the source. The Observation Battalion radar section is already operating behind the front. Its crew watches the scope, searches the expected impact area, catches the radar return from the projectile, tracks the shell arc. The radar cannot see the enemy gun, it sees the shell, and mathematics reveals where it came from. The result goes to core artillery, which can respond with 155mm howitzers, 8-inch guns, or other core artillery assets. This was the same concept used successfully in later conflicts, but Korea exposed the limitations of early radar. Even with disappointing results in some Korean terrain, SAR-784 represented an important step. It gave artillery commanders something they never had before: a way to locate invisible enemy artillery. Before radar, counter-battery depended heavily on observers seeing flashes, listening posts hearing guns, aircraft spotting positions. The radar crews themselves were probably among the least recognized soldiers in Korea. They were artillerymen, radar operators, electricians, mechanics and plotters. They often worked behind the infantry line, but were directly involved in the artillery duel. A successful mission might be recorded simply as enemy battery located by radar, counterfire delivered. The men who made that happen rarely received the attention given to gun crews or infantry. The AN MPQ-10 became the more important US Army counter-battery, counter-mortar radar in Korea, and it largely displaced the SAR-784 for field artillery locating missions. The AN MPQ-10 was created specifically for the artillery problem. It entered service in 1951 and was rushed into Korea. A historical study of Army artillery radar development notes that the AN MPQ-10 replaced earlier SAR-584 and 784 systems and was employed in Korea for both counter-battery and counter-mortar work because a dedicated field artillery locating radar was needed.
That's all, folks. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.